All right, looking at Class 1A here. Two area districts, Clarion and AP hosting this Saturday. It doesn't take long to get to some of the marquee weights at the Clarion district. I love the weight of 106. I mean, you saw the match last week between Portillo and Cologne. Portillo ends up winning 11-7. Cologne was up early in that match, got tilted, I believe, twice. Could see a rematch here, but Cologne's wrestling a 38-3 kid in his opener. Some of these you just don't know. I mean, you don't know what kind of competition the other school's wrestling all the time. Sometimes these records are a little deceiving. Sometimes the kids who got 10 losses are really good kids because they've wrestled hard competition. Going into 13, Marcus McDonough, Central Springs. Tough draw getting the Zasla kid from St. Ed's, 27-4, returning state place winner there for St. Ed's. 120, Zach Andrews, Belmont Clemmy, wrestling the South Central Calhoun kid, 44-7. Then it's kind of one of those must-win, I think, weights too in that opener because you got Cade McClintock, St. Ed's, ranked number 1 on the other side of that semifinal. 126, Michael Olson, a kid who's been as hot as anybody, 31-14, a freshman. You look at what he's done the last 2 weeks, pinned Brady Jennings in the NIC finals at 126, followed that up by pinning J.D. Sliger from Central Springs when he was losing a match last week. Kind of one of those big move kids. He's kind of developed into that where you see he's never out of a match no matter what the score is, and if he's down by 6-7 points, he's proven that he can win just by hitting one of those big moves. 32, Heberlin from Belmont Clemmy, 30-7 against a Manson kid, 22-8. On the other side of that, you got Ethan Blanchard, Central Springs, 31-15 against the South Hamilton kid who's 35-0. Somebody's got to get second there. I mean, I think that the Raider kid from South Hamilton clearly favored. And sometimes you just see who can bounce back. I mean, losing your first one, can you keep your head and can you be mentally focused when you're going into that winner-take-all wrestle back? 38, Colby Bratrud, Northwood Kansas, 34-4. Good season. You know what? He's getting an Eagle Grove kid where you kind of expect him. Eagle Grove kid's 21-17. You kind of expect him to win that. I think that's a good draw. The Lehman kid obviously is good from Clarion, and the South Hamilton kid 27-14 also in that bracket. 45, Brady Schmidt, Lake Mills, a team that's kind of developed, I think, faster than a lot of us anticipated. A young team, a lot of freshmen, but they found a way to get to the regional duels, get to the regional dual final against Don Bosco. I think no matter what happens this weekend, and they're going to get a few guys through, but it's a huge step in the right direction for that program, and Alex Brandenburg. Schmidt wrestles a South Hamilton kid, 31-5. Peyton Rice seems like he's been at Manson for about 10 years now on the other side of that bracket at 44-1. And the Rice kid's a legit state title contender. 52, Noah Irons, 43-0. You kind of just expect him to get down there at this point. Not a real dominant kid on the other side of the bracket. Both kids got double-digit losses, a kid from Clarion and a kid from Manson, Northwest Webster. 160, Fingelson from Central Springs, 38-2, a kid that's just going to go out and scrap with you. Kind of an intriguing weight. Nobody has more than 5 or 7 losses, in that weight class. Slade Cifuentes, Lake Mills, another freshman, 28-7 on the opposite side of that bracket. Summerlight kid from Pocahontas is tough too. That's who Lake Mills kid gets, 39-5 in his opener. Nick Raftis, Belmont, 170. Wrestling the Pocahontas kid. Then you got Jordan Lee, Clarion, wrestling the South Central Calhoun kid who's 45-5. 182, Central Springs, Nick Miller. Panthers just had an off day. I mean, they picked the worst day of the year to have an off day last week at sectionals. But that was a hard sectional. I mean, their best kids were at really good weights. I mean, there wasn't a lot of walks for their kids in that sectional meet. Miller, 29-13, wrestling a Dolder kid from Manson, 3-0. So this Manson kid wrestled his first matches of the year at the sectional tournament. 95, Andrew Olson, Lake Mills, 26-8. Probably one of the favorites in this weight class. Wrestling Prairie Valley kid, 26-19. Colton Hansen, 32-9 for Newman on the other side, with the Richardson kid from South Central Calhoun, 36-6. So a solid weight class there. 3 kids, 9 or fewer losses. Then in 220, Tyler Mary, Lake Mills, who had a huge pin in the regional duel to help beat Sumner Fredericksburg. He gets number 1 Vinnie Harvey from St. Edmund in his opener. Then 285, Luke Warden, Belmont, 33-2, had a great year. He advanced as sectional champ after the Gambrel kid from Clarion injury defaulted last week. So that's kind of where we are at for Clarion. Just looking real quick at AP. Will Portis from Rockford, 6-pounder, 31-8, gets an AP kid in his opener. Then on the other side of that bracket, you got the Schmitz kid from Don Bosco, a solid 6-pounder down there. 13, Isaac Masters, Nashua, under one of my favorite guys, Al Frost. Is fiery and is fun to cover as you're ever going to meet in this business. He's a treat to talk to every time because he's so honest and he just says what he thinks, and I appreciate that. Masters gets Dyke kid, 28-9, Cody Kugel, 13-pounder. 20, great matchup. I saw one of these matches earlier this year. Jacob Hansen from West Fork, Dalton Nelson from North Butler. I saw him wrestle a 1-point match earlier this year at a quad at Newman. This is another really good weight. On the other side, the Reichs kid from Turkey Valley's got 9 losses, and the Entrican from Hudson's got 5. So you're looking at 4 really good kids there, and I wouldn't be surprised really at any outcome. Hanson's kind of been, the face of West Fork now for wrestling. I mean, they've had started up a program recently, and it's hard to do at a basketball school, but they found a way to kind of get some kids out, and this is one of the first kids who's kind of laying the foundation. Would be their first state qualifier if he can get through. 26, Jacob Back from Riceville comes in with a 15-20 record. Tough one, Dyke, New Hartford kid, 36-3 in his opener. Moving to 38, Reese Reams from Nashua, 35-15, wrestles Paulson from Don Bosco, 27-14. Nashua and Don Bosco wrestled in the regional duels on Tuesday night. 52, Cody Nelson. This is the time for him to flip the switch. He had a little lull for 1 week there in the season, but he's a defending state finalist. He gets Cade Bruce from St. Ansgar in his opener. It's time for Nelson to get his head on and just go and prove that kind of 1 week, that wasn't what we're used to seeing. Last year he went through the regular season, district tournament undefeated before losing in the finals. 160, Landon Johnson from St. Ansgar, 27-15, gets the Prusner kid from AP, 26-7. The opposite side of that, you got Jake Hogan, probably the favorite to win a state title at that weight from Don Bosco at 160. At 82, Jason Fisher, Nashua. Tough draw for him. Luke Huber, Hudson, 40-1. 95, Tyler Larson from Nashua, 35-9 going in. Tough weight class there as well. 220, Jacob Pierce from St. Ansgar, 29-8. Clay Minders from Ackley's his opponent in the opener, 36-1. And then at heavyweight, Blaine Bark from Nashua, 31-11. The opposite side of that bracket is the Luke Kennan kid from Turkey Valley, who's 33-1. So, I mean, that's another tough weight class there. But that's kind of what you expect here this week. Then just touch on Mason City a little bit. Stone Sturgis not going to go at 152. Will Siglin questionable to go at 38. Stone's obviously not wrestling, but if Siglin doesn't go, that's 2 state qualifiers last year that will not be competing. Much tougher district for Mason City as well. When you look at Waverly Shell Rock being there, kind of adds a whole new dimension to that because Waverly's just going to get their kids through. They're tough. I think they're a little underrated in 3. I think that they could win a state dual title and they could be right in the mix for an individual state title as well. Anyway, Saturday should be fun. I'm planning on being in Webster City and then going to Fort Dodge, time permitting. And we will have our live blog online Saturday. I think we'll have all 4 meets covered. So it should be a fun Saturday, and we'll see you in Des Moines next week.